Well, hello and welcome to my scuff stream. Glad you decided to show up and be with me today. I'm just putting my toe into the waters, starting to share some software development and game development. Hopefully you enjoy it. I'm not an entertainer by trade. I'm very dry. This may be boring, and it probably will be boring, but that's okay. I appreciate you being here. And so basically, my name's Chief Multihat, and I've been developing software for quite a bit of time. I've been wanting to make games since the Apple II, and just never really got past the beginning point. Usually people would also send. Awesome. So I would, when you say send stream link, do you mean like a link to my own stream, or what do you mean? Like a. Oh, gotcha. Yes. Let me see if I can figure out how to do that. One moment. I think it's this one. Yeah. I spelled my name right on the URL. One moment. All right, I think I got it constructed correctly. And here we go. Thanks. I'm Evil. I'm glad you're here, a veteran viewer and streamer yourself. I'm glad you're on my side. Doing well. I clearly have no idea what I'm doing at this moment. I didn't even make a script. It's all completely. There we go. Completely off the cuff. I should do a cooking stream as well sometime. Yeah. So how's the stream looking so far? Is it showing out okay? And the sound volumes, are we able to hear my voice all right? Do I need to add volume? Got some background music. I did a lot of recordings to kind of test things out a little bit. Perfect. Kind of worried about this mic picking up everything from across the neighborhood. Yeah. I suppose I could start off with kind of showing the game off a little bit before I get into it. Let's see if I can bring up. Probably not going to come up without. Oh, here we go. Of course. I got to get my Chrome to pop up another window. All right. Here we go. Let's go to Treptera. Oh, before I do that, let's go back to the game. Make sure it compiles and runs. If the game doesn't run, I can't show it. All right. Yeah, I kind of threw the PNG tuber together and tried to take one of my game assets and alter it a little bit. I think I got it kind of. It's not super detailed at the moment here, but it bounces a little bit. That's good. Oh, that is true. And there's going to be a bunch of texts. I need to get some soap cutting windows on the side and maybe some stream elements or stream avatars going at some point. Okay. Appreciate that. Yeah, he's my little woolly slime. I haven't made stats for him yet. I got to figure out how I'm going to put him in the game. Okay. So essentially, the game is it's a website, and this is basically .NET Core or just .NET development, and I'm using C# as my language, and it's essentially it's a web application. So it's going to have things to support creating a web app, and then behind that, of course, that's the technology that's going to deliver web pages and such. So I went ahead and created web pages and crafted them from HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, basically from scratch. And just to be really rudimentary, kind of in the form of the old retro computer game look. I'm not using any kind of fancy front end stack as of yet, because I just want it to be I know HTML and CSS and JavaScript. I don't know all the stacks all that well, so maybe I'll convert this over to different stacks later on down the road. Oh, certainly. So for a website, it's a website project, and what that website project does, it goes in and it pulls in the .NET libraries and sets up a runtime to be able to listen to ports on your computer like a web server does, and then it's going to build in the language of the web, HTTP protocol, which transfers information from your computer to the server, and then the HTML, which is the markup language. That's why your browsers can see all the pictures and all the words and such at HTML. So from a website, basically starting off, I'm just creating a website, and I have various pages, and that connects to my web server. Now, because of that, I can then set up code. So this is kind of like your GD script or your other kind of scripts. You can then set up code that's going to handle your actual game. It's going to be separate from the website, but it's going to be a completely functioning application from within that's going to run inside of the website. So understanding, like say, when you type in the URL in your browser, for example, that's going to do internet things. It's going to go and connect to your website. But with that, just a little bit of a delay. I apologize. This is all the website part. So this is all basically taken care of out of the box. You just kind of configure it, set it up. There's certain areas in the code I can't show. I mean, I wouldn't mind showing you, but I can't show just because I think I just want to make sure I don't have passwords sticking out in the wild. But essentially, it sets up the website. Then that's the server side. So then I tell the server, okay, I don't want you just to serve web pages. I want you to hang on to the fact that someone's connected, and I want you to take the game engine or take the main game loop and keep it in memory. Don't flush it out and let it sit and run as long as the website runs. So I got this program running inside the website. That's the actual game. So the website then says, oh, you pushed a button on that screen. In turn, the website then tells my game engine or the game code this operation is being wanted to be done by the user. And so that's the input-outputs part of it. So there's different technology stacks. One is just, so this is kind of like, with the game engine, it handles all the common graphics, the setup of a scene. It has its own language to describe how to animate and timing, and to basically all the base components to run the art of the game. Then the game is all centered. The game engine in general, they're all centered around that timing, when it's going to draw the scene, and you're going to give cycles. And then you have to, as a game developer, then on top of that, build, okay, what's going to happen between all the art that's being displayed. Now you have a slice to say, okay, what are you going to do with, what are you trying to do? What do you want to show next? How is that going to coincide with your game states? And with that, you're going to have, that's where you build out your game then to work inside those time slices, and depending on the engine, it's going to show you the direction, and it's going to give you the ability to go in there and know where to add those components when. For something like a website, it does nothing. It knows nothing about drawing, physics, and a sprite across the screen and things like that. For websites, there actually is a game engine. It's called. What is it called? I think it's called. I don't want to say Proton. One moment. Phaser. So I don't know if you heard of the word phaser before. There's a game. That's the game engine that allows you to basically run a game inside of the browser itself. So it has all the components to do all the sprite manipulations and drawing and such. You just then you direct your code, then directs what those do. So I might have lost the original question. Curious how to put your code into web for to know what is going on. So I put the code in by basically I have this thing called maze library, and I've created this. This is the game. This class. So in C# you have classes, and this is kind of object-oriented programming a little bit. And this object represents the code that's going to do your game. And this is the main loop. So all the game rules and information needed to run the game starts in the game class. And then inside the code, I basically I create that game class and tell the computer or tell the website, okay, stick this into your permanent memory. And then when I ask for it, bring it out. Meanwhile, all this code is running inside, setting states, keeping track. Like game session then is the representation of the game player in relation to since the player is going to have all the characters in their parties, where they are at in the maze. What is their achievements? Everything. Everything that they affect the game. I need to record what they've done, and that goes into the game session. And consequently, the game session will get saved to disk or saved to the back end of the web server. So when you come back to the website or come back to the game, it's going to load back up where you left off, and you get to continue to play the game. So, and this code then ends up being code that's independent of the website. It all it cares about is, all right, what are character stats? What are hit points? What happens when you hit, the concept of what is combat? What's a spell? These systems you put in place, or this game rules. So, like a game. You have a game engine that makes a game, but then you actually have to create the game within the game, right? Within the game engine. So this is the rules themselves. So I go about. I have my static data, my experience, and things like that. And as a programmer, I try to make my code so that it's like, well, what is this? Well, it's a master spell tome. This is a mobile spell tome. I try to name my variables so that as I'm relooking at my code, I kind of go, oh, that's a game editor. Okay, that's I get to kind of see what's going on with that code. Basically, the game breaks it down. You have game sessions. It uses basically a D20 system, so I'm rolling a D20. How do you do that? Well, we go out and we start writing out. All right, let's define what is a different. What's a dice roll? What are dice? There's a dice bag, and if I want to roll between a random number between a minimum value and a maximum value. Or if I want to if I say I want to roll dice, it has 5 sides and 1 die, it will then roll 1 to 5. Or if I have 2d10, I put in 10 sides, 2 dice, it rolls 2d10. Adds them up and gives you a number. Also have, and so I have a bunch of support functions that just deal with rolling dice. Then if I have this that's about randomness in the game. And then you have the different game rules. Then it says, okay, if I roll this number and I compare it to another roll, I have success or I have failure. And then your game engine, your game rules will say, what you just tried to do, success means do these things, and failure means do those things. So you start making the game by building out all of the all the small blocks. You know, you need dice. You know, you need paper and pen to draw the maps. You need the concept of, well, what do you know, what is a character and such. What are weapons? What are armor? What are the rules that go in between those things and make those things, you know, roll all up together? So you have to kind of, you know, I played D&D a lot, or had played D&D a lot, and there's a D20 system. So, and a lot of the game mechanics itself, the pure game mechanics, are just, you know, they're not copyrightable. I'm not trying to copy that. I am rolling odds of 1 through 20, but I kind of stop there. You know, I guess you're going to compare those two rolls. You're going to have modifiers, but what it's doing and how it works and the thought behind it is my own. The only similarity would be, modifiers, stats, you know, values between 1 and 20, or 1 and 6, or 1 and 8. So with that, I kind of have to start with something I'm familiar with, and then as time goes on, I do have the ability to go back and completely change out the randomness. You know, if I don't like the distribution of, you know, don't want to build. Hello, Rhythm. Thank you. Appreciate you following. My Twitch stream alerts do work. Yay. Although I heard the sound, like, oh no, I can't remember what sound that was meant for. What happened? So I had to go find it. It helps to have 3 screens. I do not know how anybody would stream with more than one, without more than one screen. That'd be just absolutely hard. Oh, just all kinds of things going on. I mean, I keep a lot of things in my head because I'm a programmer, but this pushes it to the limit. I mean, we're talking. It's quite of an interesting challenge. And then after you get all the technical details, I have to actually become a personality, which we'll see. I don't know about that. Yes, thank you for joining. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're just kind of going through the some little bit boring details. Good question, but I will probably expand upon way too much information. I probably need to come up with some emotes to tell me to, quit talking or something. I don't know. But yeah, basically the game, you're gonna start creating the pathway between, okay, here's your game rules, here's what's random, here's what all these things mean, here's all the different areas of decision-making trees that you can create with your game system. And then, once you have all those in place, then you can actually start making the game. And so I started making this game back September of 23. I just decided, before I pass on, not that I'm getting up there in years, but I would always wanted to make a game. But with that, I'd always want to, try to make a game. And I always, from playing games at Apple IIgs, Apple II, NES games, I played like Wizardry, I played a lot of Shadowgate, I played like those RPG type games, and Prince of Persia originally. I just really, Metal Gear Solid, pretty much just, I wanted to make a game really bad. And I almost made a game when I was in high school, but I ran out of computer memory. And then as life went on, I ended up becoming an enterprise developer, business-oriented, which is nowhere near making games. And then I'd get to talking about my passion of playing or trying to make a game, and someone says, "Why haven't you made a game yet?" And I'm like, good question. You also asked the cobbler, why doesn't make his family any shoes? Probably why I haven't made a game. So, here I am. I said, all right, I'm going to start making a game. I mean, I've done some modifying. I made some programs. Oh, goodness. I understand the message now. I appreciate that. Yeah, let me fix that. That's, let's not have that 10 minutes. That was kind of out of the gate. One moment. Sorry, Rhythm. Hopefully this will kick in right away. Anyway, yeah, we'll just start that. Now, if I start getting problems, obviously I might push it up. or maybe get good at banning, but I don't think no issues right now. All right. Yay! There we go. So yeah, scuffiness. Lots of scuff today. It's gonna be a scuffer, probably weeks. Not that I'll be doing this a lot. I don't know. I might be. I can't sleep. 3 a.m. stream. I doubt that. I do have to work Monday through or Friday, so I can't be having too late of things. So yeah, basically we're going through just you got to kind of create all the supporting elements, all the supporting things, the physics, the stuff that gives substance to the game. I mean, if it was just a rock paper scissors, appreciate that. Rock paper scissors. You gotta okay, so rule system: rock beats paper, but crushes scissors. You got to create those logic tables, and you got to create the function that does the lookups and figures things out. Then you got to go, okay, now someone's playing on the website, so I need to take the button push to indicate that they want to use a scissor. And then it goes back to the game system. Ah, you're not scuffed. Ill. But yeah, you make those systems. So that's where you kind of see all these things over here. I kind of broke all those things down with that, where we're going to have your characters, equipment and effects. So basically the game is you have characters. They have stats. Stats are going to be categories that are responsible for different kinds of actions, grouped by like strength, things that deal with strength, dexterity, constitution, health, mental acuity or intellect, wisdom, and charisma. You put those things together. Yeah, and it's kind of borrowed a little bit from the idea of the D&D, but D&D also borrowed it from somewhere else. So with that, you then start making physical attack systems, mental attack systems, spells, abilities, and then you got to come up with a way that allows you to model that in an efficient way, so that you have a base. Everything in the world is a character, for example, and then that character gets split off into what are monsters and what are player characters, and then certain monsters can only do certain things and player characters do certain things, and down the line you go. And that's kind of how I built that. So that way, when I want to go in and start actually programming the game, I'm not reinventing the game all the time. It's a small step you build, and then you work the next small step, and before long you got a very large system comprised of very small steps, and then they all start working in concert with each other. And then if you try to put those together in a decent way, it makes you as the developer easier to start implementing things. So from my standpoint, as I go through doing this, I don't know, I may have chatted or talked about it later. Hey, I need to refactor something. That's because I've been trying to make a certain kind of character in the game, and it's hard because I messed something up, and I got to go back, and it's like going, you're at the edge of the tree, and you got to go down the branch and find where it finally, branches off, take that section out, and then put a new section in. So yeah, you do have some quite a bit, and my stream. For now, I'm going to be focusing on my game and my game development and probably playing my game for now for a little bit. And it's about 2/3 to 3/4 the way in. And like I said, I had to develop making the website, and then I also have to deal with aspects that are just website problems. And then once I get that to work, then I have to figure out, okay, so you're making the game, so where's your sound coming from? Yes. Where's your graphics coming from? Oh, I have to make the graphics, don't I? Yes, you do. So a lot of times it's game development is just drawing and learning how to start picking up my 8th grade education of art and trying to expand upon that. So it's been fun. It's a big and good experience, and so got better at doing some of the art. I found a great open source Kevin McLeod. I think if you go to my About section on my channel, I have a section that gives the credits, and he gives me a copy, CC Commons, right to use the music on the stream and in the game, as long as I give the credits, which I'm doing. Right now you're listening to Ancient Winds. It's kind of a nice ambience background. It's about an hour long, so that's good. I don't want to get. I haven't quite figured out, how good how proper it is to stream. Like say Spotify, I would want to have that go to the VOD, but at the same time, I don't want to be breaking any kind of copyright right off the gate either. So I talked quite a lot about nothing. I apologize a little bit about that, but I try to be a little more specific. Was there any kind of specific question you would want me to kind of look into or show a little bit? I mean, it could be code heavy, but I could also just kind of play the game a little bit too. So basically what I've set up, because I own this URL. I own cmhgames.com. That's going to be my game company eventually. Cool. Yeah, we'll definitely get the game going. I'll try not to. Yeah, we'll get the game going here in just a second. I do have a alpha website running the game. It's quite a few versions behind. Oh. I've been raided. Welcome in, TriCatch TV. I certainly appreciate that. Thank you so much. Welcome. You've witnessing a scuff stream beginning. It's ignition. I certainly appreciate you guys. Don't have the ability quite yet to do all the normal streaming material or streaming things. I'd give you a shout out, TriCatch. I appreciate you being here. How was your stream? What kind of things were you doing in your stream, if you don't mind asking or saying? Appreciate that, Cregan. Appreciate that for that follow. Thank you so much. My name is Chief Multihat. I am normally a software developer by trade, but what I'm going to end up trying to do is make a game. And because I do a lot of since I do a lot of software, making websites, actually I'm a full stack developer in the enterprise area of businesses and such. I wanted to make a game, and so I started off, said, well, let's I know how to make websites. Let's make a game that uses a website. I'll start learning the game engines later on. So now we're going to start with, so that's where I've kind of landed. I'm just creating a web service that's going to, it's going to serve pages. That's the game. So we can get started there. Nope, that didn't work. All right. Maybe Evo will tell me how to give a shout out to your channel. All right. Further ado, I'm going to pause the background music because the game does have game music. Right, so here's Dungeons to Treptera. This is my alpha screen. Just kind of give a quick piece of information about the game. What this does is it creates it. When you connect to the server, it's going to try to generate a cookie, and that cookie is going to be used to access the game. If you pass that cookie to someone else, or someone else uses your computer and your account, they're going to play your game. There's no real actual logon. Now, the game itself might ask for your email and a handle. The email is not needed for the game at the moment, because at some point I will put in some authentication, and that will be your username, and that way you can not worry about just running the game from cookies. But essentially, this is just it stores on your computer a unique key encrypted, so that when you visit back on the website, it's going to know that it is you, and it's going to load up the game data to you. If you clear your cookies, you're starting over. But this game also has the ability for you to go and capture that, reconnect URL. You could then save it in your bookmarks, and that will refresh that cookie. So that's the technical aspects of that. But we'll just start in the game. So here we go. Continue. This is Dungeons of Treptera. It's a computer RPG game. Basically, it's a computer dungeon crawl. The main focus of the game is going through the dungeons, finding the monsters that are stronger than you, and surviving the battle. Loot, experience, more power, puzzles, and basically a story that kind of folds in the background a little bit. So, start playing. Normally it'll come up and show for username and password, not password, just a username, and allows you to enter that information in. But since I've saved it this is my game. So intro music, so beautiful town of Treptera. It's in retro style, so you can get that nice little green look a little bit. Within this game, I have tried to have some sort of help. So if you click on your question marks, it'll give you some information, some self-help. Essentially, you have a description of, what's the story behind Treptera. Here's your, it's a quite bustling town of Treptera, the guild, the dungeon, and, things that you want to do within the dungeon. All right. If you go to the Adventure Guidance and Success Center, basically this is your kind of a tutorial and or just reference information about the game. If you played CRPGs or just basically RPG games, it's going to have a very similar flavor and a feel to it. You know that you're going to have a party of characters. You're going to be able to manipulate them around, and you could give them equipment and armor and spells, and so it's just be a matter of learning how does this game present that to you, and how do you make use of it. So this goes through and shows if you have a party active right off the bat. It's just going to give you, all right, here's your characters, and you have up to 6 characters to play. Yeah, it's all clicking. Yeah, it's currently all clicking. I don't have I suppose I could put an interface into it that allows you to use a controller at some point, but right now it's just clicking. You can select what kind of character it is. You can then give it a name. Your progression through the game is going to give you your levels. Here's your stats, your health, how much XP you need for the next level, what you currently have equipped, what the ability of that weapon, what kind of armor there is, and also what kind of consumables are on your person. Then it kind of goes through and describes, okay, well, what's strength and dex, intellect, wisdom, and charisma. And then it gives you an overview of, what does these numbers mean, 10, and then the weapons and armor. And then he goes through and it's going to see, okay, if I'm a fighter, what's important to me? Strength and constitution. What can I do? You can feint. You can make people, basically make the monsters attack you instead of others. And then you can also have a cleric. Cleric's going to be used to, cast healing spells, clear out poison. Mages cast offensive magic mostly, or utility spells. Thieves are your clandestine workers of the underground types with unique skill sets, we'll say. And then advanced roles, I'm going to be adding these in. These advanced roles will have a little more specific capabilities that are very much useful for the higher levels of the dungeon and such. Can this be played on mobile? I haven't quite got it to the point where it can be easily played on mobile. Everything's not readjustable. It is something where I'd have to design the screens in such a way that everything would fit. It'd be a lot of scrolling. There's a lot of information. But that is something that I would like to do. You can play it on a mobile device. You just have to use like the original desktop. And that's the downside of me creating like a straight HTML, CSS type raw web pages. I'm not using any kind of front end at the moment. Yeah, I know it would be kind of nice about going on mobile, but I'm already through most of this before I realized, you know what, I should have done this, make it more mobile. One thing is if I were to be translating this or rebuilding this in say Game Maker or another language or another actual game engine, I would guess then I could start having that automatic support for mobile, because just the way it would work. But yeah, this would be all very tiny on your little mobile, unfortunately. All right. It's quite a bit of information. I don't think I'm gonna unload everything that we have today on this, but I'll just kind of go through some, just want to kind of get into the nit and gritty. Essentially, your guild hall. So with the guild hall, this allows you to procure, employ your adventurers seeking fame. So essentially, with that, the idea is you are the game master, not game master, guild master. You are trying to recruit and get a cut of the riches that the adventurers pull in from the dungeons, and you're also an administrator where you have to like train up other adventurers. You might have to dismiss them. You might have to take care of their funeral expenses. Just the various things that might happen inside of the dungeons. While you do that, every 2.5 minutes, a character will show up, or an adventurer will show up, of either a cleric, a fighter, a thief, or a mage. Every 2.5. Instead of like, and the way I wanted the game to go is like, okay, it's going to give you a set number of adventurers, and then it's going to start feeding you adventurers, and then you could take you could take your pick of them, and you can kind of then choose them, and then basically enroll them into your guild for you to be used later. Instead of having like, I'm going to create a character, go through the character creation screen, the scores suck, I'm going to start over and over you go. So I'm trying to either have a little bit of, hey, why don't you just use a character as they are, or with a little bit of adjustments, but you could also re-roll them in the game. You're training them. But if you re-roll, for example, this is a cleric, and wisdom is very important, but you don't want a super weakling. Dexterity helps they get, it helps them to go fight faster. Constitution, they're not sickly. So anyway, you go through and you re-roll it, and then immediately training has made them worse, which happens sometimes. It really beats things out of you. So we try again. You can kind of keep doing this. Oh, there we go. So this is pretty spectacular. We got average strength. We have very quick, very ambidextrous, they can move their body very well and precisely. Intelligence is a little bit above average. Their wisdom is spot on and very charismatic. A little sickly though, but I think I'm going to accept that character, so you just hit accept. And then that goes into your guild roster. So you can keep doing that. So now I have a level 1 cleric that I could then bring up and hopefully make stronger and use them for other adventures. And if you don't like any of these guys, say you just don't like them, you can dismiss them. You just go through and dismiss all of them. And what happens is they go away. Like I said, if go back to the guild every time you visit the guild. It's been more than 2.5 minutes since I last been here, so here we go. I get somebody. Somebody has showed up. I have a mage, and their stats. Let's put them with a little bit of training. All right, I need intelligence. 17, but 3 strength. Barely could lift the clothing that's on their body. We have muscle magical person. Not very fast, not very wise. Once again, we're not too good at the strength. Constitution, very sickly. Yuck. Well, very intelligent. Die if you breathe on him. So you just kind of hit re-roll here. Oh, I missed it. It had a 19 dex. That's quite interesting. Very high. That's pretty good. So this is a atypical mage. Very, very, very genius level. Very quick. Very healthy. It's almost like the mage is a fighter. Which later on, for advanced capabilities, having a mage that has stats that are not normal for a mage, but yet is good for certain kind of actions. It's always good to think about those things when you create your characters. So I'm going to accept that one too. So here's my guild roster. It basically just says who's available in your guild at the moment. Down below you have your active party. Right now I have the bucket kickers. They haven't kicked the bucket yet, which is good. But with that, we can have you could then just set up their names however you want them, and or you can remove them, removes them from bucket kickers back into the general, basically on call. They're ready to go at any moment. They're living in their dorms within the guild, and they're just kind of waiting for you to call upon them. You also have the ability to create multiple parties. The idea is that you could get a few parties going so that when you have a wipe on one party, you just continue the next party. The idea, the fun of the so you can the mage weapons themselves, I mean, they're kind of limited about the kind of mage weapons you have, but as you go, I have plans for you will be able to find weapons that mages can use that can take advantage of their innate strength abilities. So yeah, you have a fighter mage essentially. So yeah, you will have abilities like that. Mainly in order to take advantage of other stat strengths that generally are not of that role. It's probably through either equipment, armor, or spells, or items. Once in a while, you may be offered a character might be offered an opportunity to advance into a more advanced role, in which they will need to have their stats higher up. One of the things of the stats is that when you go up a certain amount of levels, at some point you will be able to add points to your stats, and I'm working on those rules. So there's a lot of customizable, or making it more customable. Streamer can't speak today. That's okay. All right. So that's basically, so the guild hall is get more adventurers, tweak them out, dismiss them so you can get more to come in, and put them into parties. All right. Let's go ahead and go into the dungeon, shall we? So I'm going to return to the dungeon menace. So, adventure awaits. Enter the dungeon of Treptera here. Each level is known to increase in treacherous peril, but great reward awaits. This starts the adventure. Final checklists include, very important, have 6 members in your party. Going out into the dungeon with a couple characters, you're going to die. Have a party name. It's nice to be able to know something other than test party or quote-unquote name of party. Adventurers have names. It's nice to kind of get familiar with your characters a little bit. In your mind, you can do a little role-playing. Get to know your characters. have feelings for them, so that, in the off chance you need to save them, you feel better about doing that. Basic gear is distributed equipped. It means if you go to different parts of Treptera, if you go to Bart's Metalworks, that's where you buy your weapons. If you go to Arcadia, your spellcasters can go buy spell books, prepare them for spells. If you need to go get some potions of healing, go to the Gnarled Root. If the off chance you are inflicted by some mysterious magical disease that is rotting you away, or you've come down with dead, have your friends take you to the Celestial Heroes and Soul Emporium, where they will go in and attempt to bring you back from the other side. Full day's worth of rest. It's very important that you have your health and your mana all ready to go. Going into the dungeon weak and tired is a recipe for disaster. And then, of course, your spells are mastered. Don't buy books, and then your characters buy a book, they attempt to learn the spell, they fail it. The game says, hey, they just failed learning that spell. You'll have to go back to spell school, and then you don't have to buy the book again, but you have to retry, spend a little bit of gold, and get that to be learned. First level spells are automatic. I'm not going to be that cruel to you. You got to have at least some spells on your belt. So yeah, just basically be wary, cautious. Don't stray far from the town exit until your feel for the dungeon has been established. This will be a tough job. Companions may die, or they might get paralyzed or poisoned, or even worse. Don't abandon them. Just make it back and use the CCSE services. Remember, as the guildmaster, many adventurers look for fame and fortune. Be sure to train them up. Some are not worthy of this name. Others are destined for fleeting fame. So good luck. All right, let's go ahead and head into the dungeon. Here's your dungeon. A little bit of theme music going. Shows your status of your characters up here. You have the abilities to explore. You can do some guarding as you're moving around to increase your chances of not being ambushed, but also because you're moving slower. But if you're guarding, you're spending more time looking for monsters than you're looking for treasure. If you want to search, it means you're searching for treasure, searching for that special thing, but you're also not paying attention to the environment as much, so there's trade-offs. The nice happy go even is, let's just explore the dungeon. Just you're moving at a good speed. You're not overly looking for danger. You're also paying attention to what's going on. I also have to implement the guard and searching, so that's just that's the gem inside of Diablo right now. All right, so to move, you just basically here's your maze. Now, from the developer standpoint, I've created a 3D perspective graphics. That what you do is you go ahead and it draws 4 spaces ahead of you, which then the graphics as 3D perspective gets smaller. It basically tells the browser, go fetch all these partial pieces of maze and draw from the left to right, back to front, and so that the things up front is going to obscure the things behind. Gives you that nice, good 3D look. There's a door. There's a ladder. Ladder says you can go up. Ladders means you go up or down levels. And the little arrow, W, is basically if you press W on the keyboard, you also will move forward. If you hit S, you will switch 180 behind. It's always a 180 switch. If you hit D, you can move to your right, and if you hit A, you move to your left, 90 degrees. So if I were to turn, that's my perspective. I'm now looking that direction, and I'm looking the other direction. And then if I turn S, directly behind me. Now, as you notice, as I move around, anytime you move, that's round. That's a time where everything in the game gets to move a tick. And so as you're moving around, making noise, monsters are honing in on your position. So you have to be careful. Sometimes your characters have the ability to go, I sense or feel that something's coming on. That's letting you know that you're about to get boinked, basically. And I can rotate again. And here I am in the encounter. Uh-oh, yellow slimes. So here's your battle. With this, you're going to have your portrait of your monster. If there's more than one group, this will grow downward. This is basically group 1. This little sword tells you that currently your party is focused on group 1. Well, you're focused on group 1. There are 4 out of 4 slimes left. No one's doing anything about it. But you could then say, well, I want everyone to start attacking, or I want to assign everyone to group 1. This is a quick, let's get everybody into the queue. So if you do that, then it tells you who's the combatants against this group of 4. Everyone. And then it'll automatically put everyone into a fight. Now, if you want to start doing some special things, let's say you choose a command. Now, slimes scare me. I need to parry. I don't want to die. Parry then basically increases your defense and tries to avoid getting hurt. But these are slimes. I mean, who's scared of slimes? Fight means you're going to fight. If you have an ability, so everyone can parry. That's why it's green across the board. Everyone can fight. Some better at it than others. An ability means I have some special innate capability. I have a talent. And to use that, the one in green have talents. The one in red don't. At least not as abilities. If you want the fighter to do something, you click on the fighter's head. All right, so Frederick is now going to do an ability. He can just switch from fight to ability. You drop down, he can feint. So I'm going to tell him to feint. I'm going to tell Sarah, my thief, I want her to shadow attack. So I'm going to meld into the shadows and start doing some sneak attacks against these very powerful and scary yellow slimes. Then I'm going to go to spells, and I'm going to have the mages unleash arcane misery upon these slimes. So you got Mysterio. He's going to do a lava burst. We're just, we're not going to take any chances. We're going to apply the raid. Yeah, shake them. And fire blast. A lot of times, as you play the game, you're going to learn how these spells work, and you can just you're going to learn the synergy by, experiencing it. I may have tomes that you could pick up that will tell you more secrets and such like that. So there we go. You're going to set up your round to a combat. If these slimes scare you, I can't deal with it. You hit flee. You pick those who are trying to flee. You can have everybody try to flee, and you can work on that. Let's see here. But I'm not going to flee. I'm going to fight. So I'm just going to hit fight. All right, here we go. So there's the sound. Just a little bit of a stream check. How's the sound? Is the sound... I keep moving my head away from the mic. It's not directly in front of my face, so I keep getting distant. I do have some headphones monitoring that. Besides that, though, hopefully the game volume is good. And I'm not yelling over the... Otherwise, we'll continue on if you don't mind. All right, let's do some battle. You do battle. So we got Sarah begins in the despair in the shadows. Frederick is going to feign the weakness and attempt to lure the hostiles. Mysterio. Now, because Mysterio has a higher dex, he has a higher chance. I understand it, evil. Mysterio has a higher dex. He's faster, so he's able to get into the lineup of who attacks when quicker. So he's able to get off a lava burst spell quickly, and so doing so, a yellow slime is resisted. Another one is succumbed. He got 9 damage. The side effect of that spell is that it puts them ablaze, so that gives them a condition. They're on fire basically, and you go down the line. It tells you how it's going. You have basically descriptive text. It's one of these old retro games, so it's going to get a good descriptive what happens. I have 4 different random so yeah, it randomizes a little bit, kind of gives a little bit of story and tells you what's happening. So yeah, punctures for 2 times. Slime was for 28 damage because she was some shadows and snuck up behind the slime, which you probably can't see anyway. But it doesn't matter. Skewered it, and that slime has received some mortal wounds. So that's out of commission. The Battle Axe of Shock. This is like, way overpowered adventurer attacking a bunny rabbit, basically. But so we get the Battle Axe of Shock +1, cuts 3 times, and because it was charged up, it also zapped the slime for 23 electrical damage. The yellow slime is dead. Hackham's Greatsword 3 times and harms the yellow slime for 31. Another devastating blow. Galaxo attempted to parry because apparently, that's right. So if there are no monsters left and you're up to battle, you're just going to attempt to parry. And then Wizard did try to cast the Fire Blast because he was just foaming at the mouth trying to get in there, but he couldn't because all the targets are dead. The evil slimes have been vanquished, and there we go. So we have total experience as 4 and 8. It's divvied up between all those surviving party members, and then as a whole, you have a set amount of gold that's given to each of the surviving members as well. All right. There we go. So we survived a round of combat. Generally, it's a lot faster. You can read fast and stuff, things like that. Now, what's interesting is that on the configuration, I'm going to go to configure here. So this is the music volume. You can adjust how loud the background music, the music is. Also, the log line delay. I like to kind of have that little log, give each line of activity, slowly, as you read it. You could then make this very slow if you want to, or you could basically make it non-existent if you want. I'll put it 1 second. I also give my credits on my game music, except for the one you're hearing right now. I actually orchestrated this and online. This is my music that you hear, but the rest of the music is by Kevin MacLeod from Incomtech.com. You give him the Creative Commons license like so. That gives me the permission to royalty-free use it in your games. If you are a game developer and you're looking for great music, a lot of places out there, but this gentleman has a great amount of scores, very interesting music, and I absolutely want to give him credit here. He also has a Patreon as well. Also, you notice the Ancient Runic Scribe and Preservation. Basically, if you click on this link, it's just going to create a copy to your clipboard if you're allowing it on your website. It's going to copy the link, and then you go to your bookmarks and you create the bookmark and you paste it in. If you paste it into your role, it'll immediately go to the game. I'm still working the bugs. Anyway, so I just kind of want to show you I could adjust some of the music to the game. I'm going to go back to the dungeon exploration. All right. So let's move forward. Now you notice since that battle was pretty quick, those abilities last longer than a couple rounds. So you get to keep the fighter still has aggro. He's still pulling monsters toward him, and Sarah's still in shadows. But as soon as I move forward 1 unit, they're all done. No more defensive feints, and they're shadow attacking. But Frederick does once again feel danger approaching. So let's see if we can get further into the maze. Now, this is a special message. Frederick is engulfed in a wave of foreboding. That's basically saying the next move you do, you're getting attacked. So it gives you an opportunity to go, how about we do an inspection, which then goes into your capabilities of your adventurers. Say you want to cast a spell. Galaxo is going to cast Enhance Armor 1. Let's get prepared for what's coming up. I'm not sure what's happening. Let's kind of get ready. So let's do that. I don't want to waste a high level spell here at level 2. Just go for level 1. Get that going, and you hit ready. That's going to cast a spell right now. Now everyone has Enhanced Armor, so everyone's armor is increased by 1. So then you exit the inspection, and let's move forward and see what we get. Ooh. Frederick did not know who he thought. Oh, there we go. Uh-oh. Oh, that's not good. My changes have gone into effect, and I forgot about that. So this might actually be tough. So in this particular case, the yellow slimes are basically nothing, but these guys are nothing to sneeze at. These are actual level balance to me, so this is going to be hard. This might be dangerous. We'll see what happens. All right, we'll start with everyone attacking. There's 7 of them. That's quite a few. These guys are tough. I've died to them before. So let's go. All right, so we already got, goodness, we still have armor blessed. Good. Let's start with abilities. Let's get Sarah out there. Let's get the shadow attack going. Let's look at our health over here. 95, I need to fix that. I shouldn't be unreadable. Hackham has a lot more health. So let's go to Hackham and let's give him, let's try to get him to attract all these orcs. Let's go to spells. Stereo. Let's strengthen Hackham. Let's give him some really good strength. He's already at 19, but let's pack it on. Wizard, we're going to go ahead and give him the Lava Blast, or Lava Burst. And then Glaxo, let's do a hold. No, let's do Minor Blessings. Minor Blessings basically gives you a +1 to your attack rolls. Alright, let's see what happens. Right away, Orc's Daggers gores once for Hackham for 5. Hackham benefits of strength. Oh, Orc's Dagger then attacks, harms Hackham again. That's good. It means his feint is working. Oh, Orc has ignored everybody. The front line went straight into the back line and goes for Wizard, but he's missed Wizard, so it's good. Orc's Great Axe. See, that's not good. Hits Hackham for 19 and did critical. That was a critical hit. And Orc's Short Sword missed Hackham. Good. So as we see, Hackham has been the source. Hackham has been a target mostly, and which is exactly what Feint is supposed to be doing. Except for Wizard. I don't know what he's doing, sticking his tongue on him. I don't know, but he missed. All right. Minor Blessings. Shouldn't say 0 rounds. I got it confused thinking it's a bad spell. It's 0 for bad, but it's supposed to be dummy. Then we have the Orc Spear. He's got a missed. Oh, here we go. Hackham finally attacks 3 times for 46 damage. Great Axe. Oh, I have a lot of people with Great Axes. That's not so good. Misses Glaxo. And then we have Frederick. Battle 3 times. Electrocutes the Orc for 30. An Orc finally falls. That's good. Alright. Because of that ablazement. That blazing. Scorches, lots of scorching occurred. So, conditions and effects. So you have effects in the game that's going to give you a condition. And that condition is going to be resolved at the end of each round. So that way you have the ability to go through and at least get 1 round of combat. And then all of the effects, if they're activated at the beginning of the round, are all happening at the end. So you can win your battle above, but die to poison below. That's just how that's going to happen. All right, let's go to ready. All right, what we got? Oh, 5 out of 5. 5 are alive out of 7. So our next thing we're going to do, yep, we did get some heat on Hackham. We're still on spell. So we go to Glaxo. We're going to have him do a heal. And let's heal Hackham. Hackham, if you look down here down below, aggro, strength, and blessed. So he's still under aggro. So let's get him healed up because he might still get attacked this round. Sarah's still in the shadows, so we'll leave that alone. Keep fighting. All right, so these guys are ready to go do something else. I think we want to be cautious. Let's start trying to put them to sleep, and let's give him another fire blast. These two will continue fighting. We'll just kind of check for health. And let's scroll down and hit battle again. Orcs right out of the bat. Yikes. Orcs are attacking my magic users. This is not good. Wizard was a little slow in the uptake. It would have been nice if he would have cast the sleep ahead of time, but he better late than never. So we got asleep. Nope, we have one guy that resisted, and it just happened to be the guy who was going to attack next, Gord Galaxo. So he probably attacked more than once, but one of those was a fumble, meaning they missed completely. So only for 6, that's good. 3 times or 23. Defensive Fate. There we go. So, alright, we got 2 are left. 1 is one can attack, but the other one's sleeping. Alright, let's kind of look at stuff. We got half beaten. Mysterio is now half beaten. That's not good. Let's have Galaxo go ahead. We're on spell up here, so maintain spell. Galaxo, let's just have you do a party heal. Just do a wave of healing across everybody. And we'll just make everyone else fight. So, you're going to fight. You know, it's all good and it's all fun and games until your mages bring out the daggers. Alright, there we go. There we go. Wizard is helped. Alright, we got some healing going on, and it looks like there's some indication that I think we're done attacking things. There we go. We have 119 XP, 25 gold, 2 silver. Yeah. So, survived another round. So basically, yeah, you just go through. I can't get out of this room. Ruffians. 4 ruffians. Alright. Let's speed round this a little bit. Let's just incapacitate these guys. You, sleep. You, just do a firebolt 2. That's a direct single target attack. A lot more damage. We're going to do some abilities. Sarah, we want you to go ahead and start shadow attacking. We're not going to have these guys faint. We just want them to attack. Galaxo, let's have you do limited curses. That's the opposite. It's going to cause them to take negatives to their attacks and saves. Alright, let's see what happens. Mysterio gets it done. Wow, these guys are just falling asleep. Oh, I just realized something. I forgot. I always like being able to forget the things I do to my characters so that I can play the game and relive the danger. Riffraff have the ability to decapitate. I'll just say that. Small chance, but you know, the Riffraff, they fight dirty and they have the ability to do some really bad things. And yeah, I am so glad that let's take care of them. So, yep. What's happening here? What do you got? I think they're all dead. No, not quite. Alright, ooh, here we go. We have 2 left. 0, they're sleeping on the job. Not a good thing to do in the dungeon. Alright, I just want everyone to attack, so I'm going to assign everyone to group 1, which automatically makes everyone fight. Let's take them out. Let's kick them while they're down. Because they'll kick us while we're down. I think Galaxo's taking some rage out. Hackham's doing some methodical work here. There we go. There we go. So, in the game, I am going to have the chances of getting treasure. So it's going to be nice to have treasure with this. Which is an event where you can get a lot more gold, maybe a magical item or 2. Sometimes they're trapped, so you're going to have a menu. It's going to say this appears to be trapped. Who do you want to investigate, or who do you want to have a take a look? Or I'll just have everybody give an opinion. and then you get to choose, okay, well then who's going to do what, and then they try to disarm the trap, and if it's successful, they win the contents of the chest. If they're unsuccessful, various interesting things may happen to them. Alright, I went backward for some reason, so here we go. Through the door, down the hall. Run. Just gotta click real fast. Right. See if I can get lost in my own. Now what's interesting is from a game designer standpoint. Evil, have a good one. I appreciate you stopping by and watching my first stream. I certainly appreciate that so much. Thank you for being here. Absolutely. You have a good night. Okay. So the way the game mechanic part of this is that each spot you move in the maze, that's a room. You know, you're gonna have your front. You know, you're gonna have your north, south, east, west walls, and you can have a door. It could be a solid wall. I can make it so that there's no wall there when you go through it, but if you turn around, there's a wall in the other room. So you have one-way doors, one-way walls. Also, each spot has an index associated with it. So the entire maze, each level, is a 30 by 30 matrix. It's a 30 by 30 table, essentially. So 900 rooms total. And there's 10 rooms. So there's 9,000 rooms. And further down you go, the more tough the monsters will get. And there'll be traps, and there'll be puzzles that'll be nastier as you go down below. Each maze level has a master monster table, essentially saying, all right, just moving in this maze, you have a chance of picking an encounter. And then that encounter then has chances of the various types of monster parties that it could choose from. So I can get multiple types of randomness and themed types of monsters in different areas. I could also then purposely assign a specific encounter to a spot in the maze or the dungeon. And an encounter means you have one or more attacks, or basically one or more excuse me. Oh, I don't know. Slots to generate your battle. And like an encounter could be humanoids. And in that humanoids, you're going to have you're going to have orcs. You could have some undead kobold, not undead. You have regular kobolds. You know, you could have slimes. Oh no, that's humanoid. So you can have orcs and humans and kobolds and anything else like that. You could also have within this specifically you can say I just want one particular type of monster group to be there, and then the way it will determine your battles, it's an odds, 1 in odds system. So it's like overall it's a 1 in 15 or 1 in 20 chance that it's going to pick a battle for you. But as you step into different areas of the maze, it might be a 1 in 5, a 1 in 2, or 1 in 30, and you could make hot zones and cool zones within the maze. Okay. Well, I'm gonna cheat. I have a town recall button. Normally, you're not gonna have a town recall. Part of the game is to be able to go through the maze, learn the maze, get lost in the maze, have a little bit of despair or happiness, depending how you're playing. But you can have magical items that give you town recall. So that generally would be taken off. It'll up the difficulty of the maze and also give you a little more urgency to take things cautiously if you want to. I'm going to jump back to town. My Discord pops in. There we go. Perfect. I'll need to work on, like I said, scuff screen. Alright, so we're back in town. We have people who have their health or some... we didn't have too many challenging things yet. Well, we're all technically on the first level, and I'm level 13. I should be probably level 6 in the maze by now, and I should be fighting much stronger characters, but I'm still developing that at the moment. So let's go rest to the boar snout. Because you're in, that's where you get your sleep and get your health and your hit points back. So you have rest and recovery, you have food and drink, and jobs and quests. So here you could be able to go through and be able to, there'll be story engagement in this area. Quests, you're going to purchase a commission. It's going to cost you a gold, and then you're going to go find the secret stash, which is basically an investment. And then if you successfully find the secret stash, you'll get a lot more. Go back to boar snout. I'm going to go to food and drink. It's basically who do you want to eat. You just select who wants to eat what. And for these 3 people, I want them to eat, say, hearth roasted animal flesh. Okay, let's do that. They do that. Food and drink, I'd say Sarah, these guys, they're going to have some spicy salamander curry. Okay. Ultimately, the food and drink are going to give you different kinds of boons. They'll be kind of secretive, maybe give you a little bit of a hint, but as you figure those out, some of them are going to give you the ability to sleep better and faster, might cure diseases, might give you a strength boost or a stat boost, and such. Some will give you extra casting ability for the day. I'm still working out those details. Sleeping. Go to rest and recovery. Alright. So, you can rest for a night, a day, a week, a month, and 6 months. So, I am kind of implementing a not real time, but actual date or time can pass for your characters. So, you can end up having a injuries enough where you might have to sit out for 6 months. It's going to add literally 6 months to your character's time of life. I don't have any issues with that at the moment, but I don't like enforce old age or things like that. But it's just a metric that I am trying to work into the game. So let's sleep for the day. Alright, let's go to rest and recovery again, and let's sleep for a day. We're almost done. 90. The whole group is 99.2% health. So let's rest for maybe a night. My rolls. Fine, full day. There we go. Finally, I just should have slept for a week. Anyway, there we go. So that's your rest. It gets your health, your hit points back, and your mana back. So essentially, that's a little bit of a gameplay. Like I said, this is Dungeons of Treptera. This is a game that I'm building out. It's currently using a web technology. It's a web service or a web app. It's going to run on a web server, or you can set up in the cloud your own server and set this up. The idea would be potentially in the future, if you were to purchase the game will run locally, and then you just use your browser to play it. Or if you want to run the game on your own server, you're allowed to do that through when you purchase the game. Most of the game capabilities are in data files, so that if you were to edit those JSON data files, you could then change how the game works. You could change the strength or different composition of the monsters. You could also add in more game art if you want to add more portraits for your games. You can do that as well. But for now, just making most of that done to the code at the moment. So let's. I think I'm going to exit out of the game here for now. This is the game console. So I'm going to hit S for save, escape to quit the game. Game is stopped. And we're just going to close the browser. So yeah, that's the running the game a little bit. And this is the code. So basically, like I said, I'm Chief Multi-Hat. I've been developing games for not since September of 23. This game, but normally I'm a software developer, full stack software developer, in the real world type of thing. So programming is a hobby and passion of mine. I enjoy doing it. My current flavor of language right now is C#. I know other languages, but right now C# is what's paying bills, so I'm doing C#. Making different types of things, like making other kinds of applications for the business and such. And then for home, I'm basically working on a game. What's nice is that I'm able to do a few things with my game or with my website or different technologies that I'm maybe not doing currently at work. So I can kind of keep my skill sets up a little bit, and I just like programming in general. I'm going to say I'm a typical programmer. I'm not going to, I understand the concepts, but I may not always speak the perfect jargon about, oh, this is this pattern or that pattern. But in general, I will I don't mind showing the code and how I go about writing it. And I try to be, I'll try to answer questions as we need. But yeah, a lot of times, I may just get onto the stream and do a coding session, or I may do a draw session. So this is pretty much just the beginning. I just kind of want to share my experience. If anyone's out there doing these kind of things or would like to learn a little bit by watching, I'm more than happy to have. And probably going to focus on those aspects. That's why I'm kind of in the game and development category. I'm not too much of a content creator other than my own game at the moment. I have no real intention of exploring, maybe as of yet, too much, and I still need to work out all the scuff. Do apologize, quite a bit of scuff. I've been trying to get different things set up. I might go actual, might be an actual picture of me of the camera at some point. I kind of oscillated back and forth about that. Right now the lighting sucks, and I'd rather just use a PNG tuber using my own art from the game. So that's what we're doing with this. So essentially, I'm not trying to unpack what I've been doing for a year to 2 years in this system. As I work through this, I will try to explain what I do. I probably will go into areas where I'll be working and just won't speak because, I forget I'm streaming. I'm not used to be able to speak out what I do, but at the same time, I look forward to part of the streaming because being able to talk about what I do, one, helps with communication. It's going to help with communication, being able to convey the ideas a little more. I do think them, but it'd be nice to be able to have them in regular language, and also to be of any help as well. And I don't know everything about programming, so there's a lot of stuff that I don't know. It can be very evident. I'm learning to learn. I also am stuck in my ways. I've been doing this for 30 years, so change sometimes is slow, but I'm also open to doing things a little bit differently. There may be some patterns, and there may not be, and there may be anti-patterns. So I'm not a purist when it comes to this. I'm not trying to show this is the pure way of doing things. This is the way I do things, and just basically available to answer questions if I can. And if I don't know the answer to something, I will try to look it up. Maybe catch you on the flip side or something. So, I appreciate everyone who's viewing. I hope that you're enjoying yourselves a little bit with this. I hope that just seeing a little bit of a different game. It's not super fancy graphics, of course. It's very retro. It's intended to be retro, kind of still framed, old style game. A lot of text. It's going to be. It's kind of like the feeling of certain games in the 80s, but at the same time, we still have games like this today, It's a very small niche type of a game, and hopefully enjoy a good old dungeon crawl, grindy, not too grindy, type of game where you take a party out and get over your head quickly and try to survive and get back, and then just keep pushing your boundaries as such. All right, well, this has been my first stream. I just decided to kind of push the button. It's been fun. I'll probably do a little bit of coding here now for a little bit, so feel free to stick around. I'll probably be a little bit quieter. I'll try to check chat out once in a while if we have any messages and such, and most likely there will be times where I have no idea what I'm doing, and that's okay. We'll get through it together. So currently in the code, what I've been working on. So as you saw some of those battles, how does that happen? Well, there's a part of this game system where I'm going in and I have a system to basically define define how to generate your monsters, your combat. And a lot of this code is programmer helpful. So this is designed to allow me to make manipulation on definitions and such, so that I can create multiple kinds of monsters with different abilities. So these are, like I said before, try to build a bunch of small steps, libraries of small steps, and then but kind of independent steps, so that when I go to pull them together, it'll create a larger thing, which then that turns around and becomes small steps for other larger things. It's kind of like an onion or like a tree, big trunk, and it keeps getting more and more branches. Mobiles, okay. Oops. Let's try to do this right. Just trying to get some readability here. There we go. So I got these major classes currently. Cobalt humanoids and such, just like major groups. I have what's called the scenario level. That's the scenario. That's up the top. This scenario contains a group of encounters. So you have a table of encounters. Each encounter has a odds number. Basically, it's what I do is I created what's called a raffle ticket system. So with a raffle ticket, I say I want 5 tickets, and the next thing has 10 tickets. I'm going to roll 15 tickets, and then I'm going to see who won, essentially, in the raffle. So that's just how that will work. So everything is built off of that. So I set up the tables with that in mind. If you want everything to have the same chance, then everything has one ticket, and so forth. Okay, this is too. I don't want to undo everything. Okay, let's get back up here. Kobolds. We'll just go kobolds. So your smallest unit within the game is a party. A party contains X number of adventures or X number of mobiles or monsters, and that's a party, and that's a group basically. And you could have multiple groups. So I need instructions to say, well, let's create a character, and let's stick these kind of characters into a party, and then this is the party that gets generated. And then there are some variables within that says, okay, if I want a level 1 party, how do you build that out? I put things in there so that I can have variability. Also with the system, this is a mobile party definition. That's basically it. This is how to create a party. There's the party name, Mangy Kobolds. The character name is Kobold. There's a list of available weapons and a list of available armor. Because there's only one item in the weapon, everyone's going to get a pike. And if your armor has leather or chainmail, 50-50 chance, because the chance is a 1 and a 1. So there's a 50-50 chance that they will either become equipped with chainmail or leather, which basically is their AC, how they're going to get hit. The next thing you end up having is the image name. So I've made artwork, I have a file name, and this points, okay, that party is represented by that artwork. All right, and then I take that and say, okay, now let's get down and start creating the party name. So this is the code, the way to encode it, so that I can have a common name. Since I can, and then I'm using some programming magic, essentially something called reflection. You're able to store information on the classes or the functions within .NET, the library that describes. Basically, you're adding metadata. And then I can then, at runtime, go through and say, okay, go find me all these static functions with a particular kind of metadata. And then I could run them and group them and take their outputs and put them into a dynamic library so that I can go about creating all of my potentials. And then the system allows me to then, when the game starts, it goes and says, okay, what did you want to run? And it goes back and collects everything and catalogs it and gets it ready to be able to, for the engine to pick for battle. Some of the things you can choose to do is that you can say, I want to add a mobile to this party of type mob fighter. That means that a mob fighter has fighter capabilities. It's a mobile, meaning it's a monster, and it fights. I could set up my base stats. If I want to have any bonus or hit damage, special attack damage and things. And then for spawning, how many of these things do you want generated? Okay, well, I want to generate, if I pass in a version 1, then I'm going to use the version number to say what to make. So spawn between 1 and 2 mob fighters, levels between levels, well, whatever the version is their level. So you can set a range. So as you increase in version, you're basically increasing difficulty. You're scaling the difficulty here on this particular case. Because I have 2 mob spawners in here. Yep, 2 mob spawners. What this says is, when it comes time to spawn kobolds, first of all, it looks at the threshold and says, well, what is that? It's a 0. That means for the average level of the party, if it's greater or equal to this threshold, then use this spawner. So because all this defines as 2 at level 0, that means it doesn't matter what level I am, these are the 2 that's going to be used for kobolds. So if kobolds has been selected to be generated, it's going to then decide, okay, so this option is 75 tickets, and this other option is 25 tickets. So basically I'm saying 75% chance to do this, and the 25% chance to do the other. And generally what I like to do is I like to say, in general, 3/4 of the monsters spawned is going to be the base, this level. But the 25% says, I want them a little more tough. I want to have a little more of an oomph to them, a chance that they're just a tougher group. And with that, that's, so I'm going to put in more of them, for example. So it's going to generate between the version +1 to version +2, and then it's going to add to that another group, version of 1 to 2. So you add them all up together, and that's how you get so many of them. Because all these things can be modified or changed or altered, you can get a whole gambit of interesting monsters and such with this. Oh, you know what? This is supposed to be playing. I apologize. More streamer scuff. It's been kind of just dead air silence, right? That's right. Let's see if this starts. All right. 1 moment. There we go. Oh, it's background music. That's a little bit better. Okay. So let's kind of see what some of these attributes do. We have kobolds. So up at the top of the kobolds, we're basically saying, okay, we want to define an encounter group level, a version 1 encounter group, and this is the encounter function. Encounter. So we're saying I want to create an encounter version 1, so it's going to be called EN Kobold V1. Add it to the scenario, that's the topmost group, scenario SC Maze version 1, and that encounter, so in Kobold's encounter version 1 has 20 raffle tickets. Then I also want you to create an encounter version 2. But with that, I don't want to associate it with any. It's just going to be freestanding, just in an encounter. And then you have this encounter. So what happens then? The game generator goes. It goes, hey, find all the encounter spawner functions and run the encounter spawner twice, with one parameter of 1, and the next time with the parameter to 2, and then take the result of that and put them into the appropriate areas. The next thing up is that this is defining this as, okay, now that's the encounters. Now this is a mobile party, meaning this is a generator to create the mobs, the enemy party. This is version 1, so this is SP Kobolds version 1. I want you to put that generation into the encounter version 1. And for that encounter version 1, I want it to be a 1 raffle ticket. So if I add more kobolds to that encounter, you see, that means that I could either generate standard kobolds, or I could generate kobolds that can cast spells in that encounter table. So there's going to be 2 generators, each with 1 point in raffle. Basically, it gives it a 50-50 chance. So when the game says it is time for you to get attacked, then the encounter kobold wins. It will then turn around and say, okay, who gets generated? And it will do a raffle and then pick one of these 2. And then once it picks it, it will then, these are the instructions on how to create the mobs. And how many. So I go through and I create these party definition functions depending on the version, and then I set attributes up at the top. Basically, this is metadata. This is basically giving it instructions to go run. What's nice about this is I can have then this find encounter command that's going to go through and says, okay, let's look at the game, and let's read the game, and let's go find all the necessary functions that represent encounters, and it represents spawning, monster spawners, and dynamically fill it up. So I write this code once, and it can go through and then find everything it needs to be found. I originally wrote code that I painstakingly built out every layer of table, and discovered that if I could somehow put this as metadata within the program, let's let the program take care of the tediousness for me. So you build out that part of the program, and then you can make use of it. So I have two things. I have the find scenarios, and I find the encounters, and then it goes and finds all the automatically goes and finds all the little mob definitions. So the way things are built in the game, I want to create a weapon. I instantiate a new weapon, I give it a name, I give it its damage, I start classifying what kind of weapon it is, and the vendor, if it can sell it, what's the description and how much it costs. So then I just go through and generate these things. Now what's interesting about this is, I'll go bring this up. It's a JSON file. There being a JSON file, after the initial build, the person who has the game, they can go in and make edits to these things and completely, or add more records and completely fill out and generate their, they can completely customize their game. I'm in the process of creating some data editors and such as well. All right. Normally I would shunt these off onto their own file, but because I like to use a function called name of, what this does is you say name of and you give it an actual name of a function. It's going to translate this to actual text exactly as written, but because this is strongly typed language, you basically create string data, which is text, alphanumeric text data, that you don't get typos in. I mean, unless you name your function wrong. So to make use of that, I didn't want to have a big long name with a period in the middle of it. That's why I'm putting, and generally this is the places where it's consumed anyway. I define them here. Also, you notice there's attributes here as well. Weapon, armor. There are functions out there that basically says, okay, I'm going to scour the assembly. I'm going to scour the library that's compiled, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pick up all these functions and execute them, because it has the armor on it. When it executes it, it's going to return an armor object, and it's going to this has all the information it needs to go into a dictionary, and there you have dynamically generated weapons and armor and items and spells. Even spells work the same way. All right. These are helper functions. Basically, I'm trying to build out common use functions. I may or may not use them. If I don't end up using them, I'll end up deleting them out of the code base, but you'll see these functions once in a while. Trying to figure out what I was doing. I'm trying to get my brain back to what are you doing? It's adjusting. Oh, did I delete something? Let's hit backspace. What happened here? Okay. Works, okay. So basically with these slobbering orcs, we have a look at this threshold set up so that at level 2, level 4, level 6 and above, you get increasingly more of them and a little bit more tougher. Mainly because our levels were between 4 and 6 or 4 and 5. And then the weapon choices, always get the great axe. don't think I want any of this. Let's go away. I need to learn to use what I have built instead of trying to make new stuff all the time. Well, this has been a couple hours. I certainly appreciate who else has been here with me today for these couple of hours. This has been basically a scuff stream. There'll be a couple of these, quite a few of these, as I get a little more used to doing this and have been trying to make it a little more fun as coding can be. But I think I'm going to be ending the stream. I'm a little bit loud. I don't want to wake up people in my household. So I certainly appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. Due to scuffness, I won't be able to raid out yet. Maybe at some other time. But I certainly appreciate being here. Let's see if I can figure this out. One minute. I don't think I'll be attempting this quite today. So, well, thank you for joining me on my debut first stream. Hopefully there'll be some more in the future. Let's just see how things kind of go. Certainly appreciate it. I'm gonna probably call it for the evening. I want you all to take care, and I thank you so much for sharing this time with me. You have a great day. Thank you so much.